Hey, Brother Rod, thank you everybody for tuning in to Let's Talk TRiO on Hound Waves College Radio. I am glad to have you this evening. We do have a very special guest with you tonight. Will be Miss Victoria Smith from the University of Alaska-Fairbanks. Also a DJ of their show is called TRiO's Company over at KSUA 91.5 over in Fairbanks, Alaska. So, Rod, we have plenty to talk about. We'll have a nice conversation with Miss Victoria Smith. But for now, just give us a little bit of what we did this weekend.
Well, I first want to say, did you feel that draft coming in? Every time you said Alaska, I just kind of felt like
you feel like a cold draft?
Like,
that's you know what? When you say Alaska, I always picture isolation and cold. Like it's nice out there. It has to be nice. There's still a lot of untouched beauty in Alaska. That's what I think.
I mean, I'm just interested to hear about the landscape and the
landscape?
Culture of Alaska. I mean, now I understand there's ice. At least that's all the thoughts I have about Alaska.
You know what? And you wouldn't be you wouldn't be alone in that thought, because whenever I think Alaska, I think tons of snow, tons of cold, and probably 1 or 2 days of sunshine. So. You're not alone in that.
So at least you thought of the sunshine. I didn't even think of the sunshine.
Oh, really? What? Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is we're going to start this off as we usually do with a little bit of music. We're going to start off with Lifehouse with Between the Raindrops.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you were just listening. Well, actually, who was we just listened to?
We were listening to Mumford & Sons, I Will Wait.
Mumford & Sons, I Will Wait. And before then, you were listening to King, and that song was called The Story, and the album was called The Story as well. And before then, you were listening to Lifehouse. This is one. Hey, Victoria. And we're getting prepared for our speaker to enter into the show. So please, ladies and gentlemen, kick back and relax and get ready to be educated on Alaska and the TRiO programs in Alaska.
Absolutely. So joining me now, live on the air, is Miss Victoria Smith from the University of Alaska-Fairbanks. Let me give you a brief bio before we bring her in. Miss Victoria is actually the academic advisor for student support services at the University of Alaska in Fairbanks. She graduated with a BA in history in 2011 and has since been working toward her MA in Northern Studies with an emphasis on history of Alaska. So, Rod, this is kind of up your alley. She's going to be able to provide us with a lot of information regarding Alaska.
Excellent.
She started KSUA. She started in KSUA as a DJ in the fall of 2006, or her freshman year. And since she hosted a show called Lost in Translation with her moniker then was DJ Nameless. And now she's host of TRiO's Company since 2012. I bring to you Miss Victoria Smith. Hello, Victoria. You there?
Yes, I am.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's a little bit chilly. It's getting dark, but, bringing well wishes from Fairbanks, Alaska.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being part of the program. We are very, very excited to have you. I just want to highlight to everybody out there listening that this is a collaboration that has been in the works since the summer. Is it right? We've been talking since about mid-July, or probably earlier than that. So this
absolutely, this has been a long time coming.
So this is a TRiO collaboration / college radio collaboration, which I was geeking out. I was telling Victoria, I'm so geeking out about this because this is kind of like, here's college. These are two college radios kind of meeting up and having this awesome interview. Victoria, again, so happy to have you here. A couple of questions for you. We're going to throw some questions at you. I'm going to have my co-host, DJ Brother Rod, he is going to ask you a couple. He's a little curious about Alaska, and now that I've told him that you're working on your MA on Northern Studies with an emphasis in history of Alaska, so he's got a lot of questions for you.
He thinks I have a lot of questions.
I'll see what I can do.
I want to first highlight that DJ JMR was so stoked about having you on the show. The first time that he knew that somebody else was listening, he was already excited. But when he found out we had a listener from Alaska, I had to contain him at work. He didn't know how to act. So, Victoria, again, I just want to extend the thank you for coming on the show, and we're very excited to have you. And hopefully we'll be able to bring you back at some point.
Yeah,
Now,
no, it's great. It's an
minds-
honor and a pleasure.
Oh, well, thank you. Inquiring minds would like to know, what is life like in Alaska?
Well, where to begin? I would say today is a pretty good indicator. Right now, it is 27 degrees outside,
Okay, not too bad.
which is actually pretty warm for this time of the year. And the sun has already gone down, and it's only 4:18 p.m. here.
Okay.
So I caught the first part of the show, and I know you guys were talking about daylight, and I just like to say for the record that it's slowly getting darker around here.
Okay. I have to remember that you all experienced daylight for an extended period of time over the year. Is that correct?
Yeah, so during the summertime we get more and more sunlight until, especially in Fairbanks, we get about, maybe 4 hours of darkness, but it's not really completely dark, it's kind of dusk. And that happens on the summer solstice, and then on the winter solstice, which is in December, it gets very, very dark, and we only get about 4 hours of daylight when it's really not actually daylight, but kind of dusk.
Oh, wow.
The sun just peaks up above the Alaskan range to the south of us and then dips right back down.
Oh, wow.
I don't think I can imagine that.
And then Rod and I we were talking. I mean, the first things that we think about when you say Alaska, we're thinking ice and snow and mountains. And can you kind of
You wouldn't necessarily be wrong on that.
So we're kind of right. But can you describe us a little bit about the landscape there?
Absolutely. So we're located in the center of Alaska, and so the interior here is more like an Arctic desert. We're really far away from water. So Anchorage is to our south, and that's the largest city in Alaska. Fairbanks is the second largest city. And Anchorage is 365 miles away. So if you can imagine, to get to the nearest town, the nearest city that has any kind of shops or malls or movie theaters or anything like that besides Fairbanks, we have to drive 365 miles to get there.
Wow. We thought we had it.
I know. Victoria, we will tell you, we're in Portales, New Mexico, and I don't know if you've done any research on Portales, but we're kind of in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you're down on the border there.
Yeah, we're right along the Texas-New Mexico border. And, usually we get a lot of complaints that, there's nothing to do. You have to drive 20 miles to do anything major. But now that we hear that I have to tell that story to one of our students about going 360 miles just to experience anything. Wow, that is interesting.
Exactly. Yeah, so it's very remote in Fairbanks. There are roads in and out. So you can drive down to Anchorage if you'd like. A lot of people fly down, and it's a quick hour flight over the Alaska range. So the dividing range between Fairbanks and Alaska has Mount McKinley. We call it Denali. It's actually the largest mountain in North America. So we are by far the largest state, and if you could please tell Texas that, I'd be so appreciative.
Now be careful now. You have a Texas native in the house tonight.
You know what, Victoria, I completely agree with you with that. I mean, I love you, Rod. Rod is a native of Texas.
Yes, I am.
Oh, I see.
And so...
Did I ruffle some feathers?
Oh, just a bit.
So one of the things that, a lot of Texas natives thinks is, like, they really slip past that whole, and we're the second largest state in the, they really say that really fast without really acknowledging Alaska.
Well, not many of us acknowledge that, period.
Right. You just don't bring it up.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, we just lobbed out and say we're the largest state. I'm just saying.
Right.
So,
you guys are silly.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit, are you a native of Alaska?
No, I'm not. I'm actually originally from Washington State.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I moved up here. This is going to be my 8th winter in Alaska.
Wow.
Nice.
So I moved up it was actually in the summer of 2005, I came up for an Upward Bound Math Science summer camp.
What?
And so, yeah, they have one in Fairbanks. They don't anymore. They lost their funding, which is a travesty. But, yes, I came up originally for an Upward Bound Math Science program. My educational talent search program hooked me up with them and said, hey, you have this opportunity. You could go to either Moscow, Idaho, or you can go to Fairbanks, Alaska. And I was like, who wants to go to Moscow, Idaho? And so I chose Fairbanks. And the rest is really history. I fell in love with the place. Ended up getting a freshman tuition waiver to attend college here, and
Oh, nice.
really never looked back. I've got my family down in Washington still, but my heart's here in Fairbanks. So.
Oh, well, that's really nice. I mean, whenever a student kind of figures out that this is where I really, really want to be, and they kind of have their heart set on that. But I am curious, what is it about Alaska that stole your heart?
Oh, that's such a good question. As great as the landscapes are, and as vast as the state is, as much as there is to see, it's honestly the people that really keep me here. So, if you can survive a Fairbanks winter where things get down to like negative 50 degrees,
I've heard stories.
It really brings out the best in people.
That's good. That's very good.
And not the worst.
You find out who people really are at that time. So the people that can handle it stick around, and the people that can't leave.
I'm also curious.
And so,
oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, that's okay. And so the people that can handle it, they build a family network here. And so, my friends are my family up here. And, of course, I still keep in contact with my family back in Washington. But I have such an amazing support network here of colleagues here at work, friends in the community on campus here and then in Fairbanks as a whole. So, I can't say enough great things about this community in the middle of nowhere in Alaska.
Yeah, okay.
Well, to somewhat change topics just a little bit, what is the educational culture like in Alaska?
Interesting question. Could you give me a little more on that?
Sure, I can. I'll be honest to say that when I think about Alaska, not only do I think about ice, glaciers, and all those kind of things, but it seems like it's almost a separate country in my mind. Mm-hmm. Don't throw any stones at me. But in my mind,
I wouldn't know anything about that, Rod. I mean, Texas was its own kind of
watch out.
I'm sorry.
Okay. We'll try to annex ourselves, but when I think about just the culture itself, it just seems so vastly different from when I think about all the various states. At least, I mean, be careful how I frame this. The ones that seem connected, like physically, I guess you can say. Is that an okay way to put that?
No, that's fine. So are you looking at education on the post-secondary level, or are you looking at education at like high school, middle school?
Well, just altogether. Is there a governing culture? How is it supported? How do people perceive it? Is it really accelerating? Are you all on the upscale of education? Do you feel like you are in the downscale? I mean, where do you all feel in terms of education for your area?
I think for Fairbanks, we definitely are education-minded. Post-secondary education is really pushed in our high schools. We have, college recruiters that come out from our Fairbanks campus, from our Anchorage campus, and from our Juneau campus through the UA system, and they really recruit students, and they really try to get kids interested in going to college. And even if they're not interested in attending UAF, maybe going outside is the better option then. And so I think that the Fairbanks campus here does an amazing job of encouraging students to seek post-secondary education on whatever grounds it works for them, whether it be an associate's degree, a bachelor's degree, going outside for some sort of technical training. And I think that the state as a whole really encourages education. They do. So our TRiO program here in Fairbanks, our Student Support Services program, is 46% funded by the University of Alaska-Fairbanks. So that's above and beyond what our grant offers.
Yeah.
Well,
so, and that's all been part of an initiative by our president of our UA system, and he's decided that, comprehensive advising is something that he's really interested in and that TRiO really models quite well. And so they put a lot of funding into that, and that's why our program got so much of that funding, is because they were like, okay, you guys are doing the right thing. We want to continue to encourage you in that area. That being said, there are a lot of discrepancies. We have a lot of village schools that are extremely remote. You could only get in by flying there, or in some areas you can take ferries or boats or stuff like that.
You have to give us a moment to really kind of visualize all of this, because we live in a rural community, At least we like to think we do.
Yeah.
But in terms of having to fly to a village or fly to some of our local areas, that don't happen here. We just drive for a little extended period.
We have highways. We're a little spoiled.
Yeah, we don't. We're thankful for our road system, but it just is not feasible to get road systems out to villages on the northwest coast of Alaska. I mean, there's just no way. So there's a high rate of bush pilots in Alaska because people need to fly in and out. So we have all these smaller, airports that do those kind of flights in and out of places like Barrow or Nome, Kotzebue, places like that. So.
Wow.
Wow.
Well, and would you say, and I do realize that you work at the college, but would you say that the high schools or the students graduating from high school, I shouldn't say turnover, but they're enrolling in significant numbers into post-secondary?
Actually, I would say that we're actually pretty lacking in that area. So the amount of students that are eligible to enroll in college right out of high school, our percentages for actually getting them into college are not as good as they could be.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it could be a lot better. I think that's an area in which the state is still trying to encourage and foster that growth. And so they have programs like, we've got engineering programs that works with Native Alaskan students in their communities to get them excited about science and engineering, and having these, summer programs that bridge the gap between their high school and their college careers. And I think that really, really helps a lot.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like, you mentioned that you all have a model that the institution is very supportive of. So it sounds like you all have something that is an outreach and it's a symbol. It's a TRiO program that really is a symbol for the rest of the community.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. One more time, please. I didn't quite catch that.
I'm sorry. It sounds like we have another caller coming in, so it may cut us off. And I'm not sure who's trying to call in, but you guys give us a moment before you call in, please. But
somebody in Texas is really mad at me for saying
maybe it's my relatives. I don't know. I did post on Facebook. Listen in. But if you can hear me, I'll do the best that I can.
Sure.
But it sounds like you mentioned that the president is really supportive of the model that you all have. So it just sounds like that the TRiO program there is essentially a symbol for the community.
We're really trying. We are absolutely, that is our goal, is to remain a model for the rest of the university and the UA system. And, a lot of this isn't just us. It's not our individual efforts. It's a legacy that's been left behind by TRiO. And so, the legislation that's in place and the regulations that are in place to, make TRiO programs run, make a student support services program run, they're pretty strict and they're pretty great. I know the regulations can get kind of overwhelming at times, but they're in place for a reason. And because of the intensive advising that we do, because of the tracking that we do, because of the free resources that we provide, everyone is noticing that, wow, our students that are in our TRiO programs are actually quite successful. On average, they're actually more successful than the rest of the students, at the university. So, really trying to work to get our name out there and say, we're doing a good thing here. Please, model your advising after ours as best you can, because we think that it's really helping students be successful. We're taking that time and energy and effort to make sure that students are successful and happy and healthy, and I think that really does make the difference.
Excellent.
Right on.
Excellent.
And from what I've heard, kind of the question that I'm also hearing abroad is because, Hawaii, it's kind of, I think it's the farthest from the United States as far as connectedness. And Alaska kind of being second because it's kind of, it's a little of ways. You're still detached from the United States.
Pretty remote, yeah.
Yeah. And for me, I guess my question would be, is there still that culture of, and I don't know how best to define this, as American culture to unite for education, to unite for I guess, and again, for post-secondary education, is there that kind of overall culture of Americanness, if you will?
I think that Alaska is a unique place. And I think that we recognize that we're unique, and a lot of times we talk about how great we are because we're unique. And so in that, I think there's a lot of pride behind being Alaskan, and then I would say also a lot of pride about being American. Our military population up here is very, very high. We've got an Air Force base that's just outside of town in North Pole, and we've also got a Army military base here in town. So our military population is very prevalent on campus in the community, and so there is that that pride and that that Americanness, because they're not necessarily from Alaska originally. A lot of those people are transplanted. So I think it's a mixed bag, but I think education is certainly a priority for people. But a lot of times we run into obstacles that no other state has run into, and so we have to troubleshoot and figure out ways to really reach these populations of students. And so I think education is a priority, but we're all oftentimes we're still trying to troubleshoot and figure out ways to reach these rural communities and make sure that our students are being successful.
Right. Follow-up question for you.
Sure.
As far as the population, the military population being there, University of Alaska, I'm sure at Fairbanks does also a good job of recruiting students from other states. Can you speak a little bit about the diversity there as far as students?
Yes, actually I can. So in preparation for that question, I actually pulled up our facts and figures page on the website.
Oh, nice.
So, yes. So our student enrollment is right around 10,800, and those are numbers from last year. Our undergraduate population is 89%, whereas our graduate population is 11%. Okay. We have a 2.35% international student rate. Our male population is 42%, whereas our female is 58%. And our ethnic division, 2.9% African American, which is extremely low. But on the other hand, our Alaskan Native or American Indian population is almost 20%.
Okay.
So really, really high population of Native Alaskan or American Indian students. We have Asian Pacific Islander at 3.2%, and our Caucasian population takes up the majority at 49.37%, so almost 50% of the population.
Right on, right on. And one of the things I really admire about Alaska, especially the university, I've done a little bit of research in preparation for this interview, is that you really get a lot of top-notch students, and not only that, the faculty are also very responding. They respond very well to the students' needs.
Absolutely, yeah, we do. We have a great faculty here on campus. Our campus is traditional, so we kind of exist in our own within Fairbanks. So we have our own police department, our own fire department. We have our own post office. We're really just self-contained. We have our own power plant here on campus and everything like that. And so we're really self-contained here. And I think that our students are really successful because our population our average class size is pretty small. It's around 20 students per class. And that's a really good ratio for professor to student. And, I've never, in any of my undergraduate classes, experienced a time where I couldn't just go up and talk to a professor about trouble that I was having in one of my assignments, or, if something came up in my life, if there's a death in the family, you can always approach them. And it's a little more of a relaxed atmosphere. There isn't that kind of rigid, you can't talk to me in person, you have to email me first and set up a meeting. It's rather informal, which is really, really nice.
Right on. All right, Victoria, we're going to take a quick music break. Can you give us a call back in about 10 minutes?
Sounds great.
All right, and then we'll do another part of the interview. We're going to be back, ladies and gentlemen. Victoria, give us a call right back. I'm gonna push off on this button, so just don't assume that I was being rude and that I hung up on you.
He hung up on you.
No, it's not like that at all. We'll hear from you in a little bit, Victoria.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a music break. More from Victoria Smith from the University of Alaska in Fairbanks. This is a great conversation we're having here, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm glad you're tuning in to listen. Rod, what do we have on deck?
Well, I'm going to actually allow you to play a song this time.
Me?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
All right, well, I'm going to play a song. I'm going to dedicate this to my wife. She loves the Goo Goo Dolls, as you know, Rod. I took her to the concert back in 2005. We
celebrated our part of our anniversary and just part for New Year's. And
How
we
sweet.
went to the concert, and they played this song. And Melinda swears to this day that one of the band members was looking straight at her as she was singing the song. So I'm going to play this song. I dedicate this song again to Melinda. I hope you're listening. So here it is, What a Scene by the Goo Goo Dolls.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you were just listening to D'Angelo, Feel Like Making Love, from his 90s version on his album Voodoo. And before then, you were listening to Goo Goo Dolls, What a Scene.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Let's Talk Trio. I have Miss Victoria Smith from the University of Alaska-Fairbanks. Let's bring her right back.
Hey, Victoria, how's it going?
Oh, it's going good. How are you guys?
Oh, so far so good.
Excellent.
So I just want to say very quickly, great interview so far, Victoria. We're loving having you here. Enjoy listening to all this information about Alaska, and we're just having a great time with you.
Oh, thanks. I am too.
All right, so now we're gonna kind of shift the conversation to
Okay.
First, before we talk about your radio program, I want to get into how you started with TRiO. So first things first, how did you become involved with TRiO?
This is going to take you way back. So I started out in an educational talent search program in middle school.
Nice.
So I lived in a small town called PL, Washington, and Centralia College was the closest college nearby, and they had TRiO programs running out of there. And so they were doing a recruitment, and I think it was right around 7th grade that they recruited me. And so, you know, they found me in a classroom of middle school students that really didn't care much, about anything. I wasn't paying much attention until they said that there was going to be field trips, and I was like, hey, field trips means no school. I think I'd like to do that. So it was pretty easy to convince me after that. So they took me to middle school. They took us out on field trips to the Seattle Mariners games, so baseball games. They took us out to college field trips to check out different campuses, Evergreen College. They took us to UW. They took us all over the place. These were just like great opportunities for me to get out of school in my, middle school and high school mind. But it ended up actually preparing me for a future in college that I didn't expect would happen. And so, during the summertime, they would pay for my basketball camps, and they paid for a science camp for me to go to. And then all of a sudden they were like, hey, did you know that there's this other TRiO program called Upward Bound Math Science? And like I said earlier, they offered me the chance to go up to Fairbanks, Alaska, and I took it. Mm-hmm. And came up here for 6 weeks, stayed on campus, loved every single minute of it. It was a great opportunity for me to get perspective in my life, because I grew up as a first-generation college student and a student that was, had a family income that was below the poverty line. And so it really was a wake-up call for me that, if I really wanted to be successful, if I didn't want to be on welfare, if I didn't want to continue this cycle of poverty, which I didn't really understand at the time, but I was like, well, I don't want to be like this, so I got to do something else. Mm-hmm. And so I came up to college, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna make this leap of faith, and I'm gonna see what happens. And it worked out really great. My college advisor through ETS hooked me up with the Student Support Services program here on campus that I now work for. And they said, as soon as you get up there, you sign up for that SSS program, no ifs, ands, or buts, Yeah. You got to have those resources. You got to have that tutoring, because I wasn't good at math.
I don't think any of us were. I wasn't good at math, so
don't go there.
Yeah. So they hooked me up with those programs, and so I am an alum of 3 separate TRiO programs.
Oh, nice.
I have worked for Upward Bound Classic here at Fairbanks for 2 summers as a resident assistant, and I now currently work as an academic advisor for the Student Support Services program. And it's really offered a lot of opportunities for me. I just took over this last month as I'm now the president of the Alaska Association of TRiO
Nice,
programs.
congratulations.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
congratulations.
There's a lot of work to go behind that.
Yeah.
It is, yes. They did not tell me about that.
Oh, no.
They gave me this
If they
great
don't, they
t-shirt
make
and
a
told me
point
to
not to
sign up
share that
for it.
with
It's in the fine print before you assume office. It's in the fine print, I believe.
I should have looked closer at that time.
Well, Victoria, thank you very much for that brief history. Now we're going to move on to the radio part of it. Is your involvement with radio? Did you ever think you were going to be in radio?
No. God, no. I'm still surprised on a daily basis that I have a radio show. Like, it's just like,
Nice.
oh yeah, that's something I do. Like,
Yeah.
My undergraduate degree's in history. I didn't go into communications. I didn't go into journalism. It was something I picked up as a hobby my freshman year of college.
Yeah.
And I really just thought, like, okay, this is a cool, fun thing to do that's different. I don't have, like, a huge friend group on campus right now, and this is something new and different. And I remember I told my teachers back home, I was like, guys, I have a radio show. It's called Lost in Translation, and my name is DJ Nameless. And they laughed at me. They laughed me under the table. It was kind of embarrassing. Like, as a kid, you're like, really? Because I feel kind of good about this.
Yeah,
but you guys are laughing, and I don't know
right at you as
why.
well.
No, I'm sorry. We're just kind of laughing at the name.
No, that's okay. It's funny.
No,
It's
I'm
funny
gonna-
now. At the time, it wasn't.
Yeah.
So I.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Because I got laughed under the table about it, I just was like, well, I guess I'll put this on the back burner and I'll start, focusing on, being in, other clubs, being in student sports services, being in history club and stuff like that. And so, I had done some video productions in high school and stuff, but I really didn't think seriously about it until, the opportunity came along once I had this position at SSS to start up a radio show. We saw that some other campus offices had radio shows, like Health and Counseling Center has an Arctic Rock Therapy show. And I was like, well, that's really cool. Like, they're getting paid to have a radio show about their office, and I think maybe I could do that. Like, maybe I could talk my boss into letting us do that. So I brought it up in a staff meeting, and she was like, yep, sure, sounds good to me. Go for it. So
Awesome.
yeah, it took off from there. This is our third semester having TRiO's company on the KSUA
That
radio
also
waves.
deserves to be celebrated.
Absolutely.
Yes, yeah. Well, we're really lucky to be on the radio station that we're on because I don't know if you guys are aware of this or not, but we just recently KSUA won the MTVU Woody Award.
What?
Best college radio station in the nation.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Well, double.
Not that I'm trying to brag. I just I gotta give it up.
No,
there.
it needs to be
Yeah,
recognized.
absolutely celebrated.
I mean, now we have like a star on our radio station, so maybe this is a future projection for this station,
Absolutely.
MTV.
You've just upped our game.
Well, and then when I have Juan on our show,
Yes.
that's only going to help you guys out.
Absolutely. Lend us a little bit of that star power.
Yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Well, I've got to ask, have you since upgraded your DJ name?
I have since upgraded my DJ name. So they forced me to get one when I was a freshman. I was like, I'm so awkward. I don't know what I want my name to be. I can't make a decision. And then at the last minute, I was like, fine, I'll just be DJ Nameless. And, when I came back on the airwaves, in the fall of last year, I was just like, well, I can't do that name again. That's a really bad DJ name. And so I was like, well, a lot of my friends sometimes they'll just call me V. And so I was just like, well, I'll just be DJ V.
Oh, nice.
I think that sounds pretty good. I think it's pretty smooth.
Yeah, it
So
is.
I'm DJ V now.
Yeah. Well, Victoria, I just want to share it with you very, very quickly, or DJ V. I have 3 different DJ names. First, I go by DJ JMR, but Rod likes to throw in DJ Tay in there for good measure.
Please don't listen to him. Don't you play into this.
So now I have, and I can't remember my other third name, but I have three different DJ names.
You
One of
had a
them,
DJ on there. Now I do give him a few different nicknames, but I didn't call you DJ.
Malala's the other one.
Well, I don't call you DJ Malala.
You guys are out of control.
we try to contain ourselves.
Oh, it's fun. It's good to have somebody else in the studio with you. I've had a co-host, DJ Char, with me for a while. His hours got changed, and so he hasn't been on the show this semester at all. But looking forward to having him back if we can, because really it makes a difference to have that other DJ in the studio with you to play off of, to help you with the control panel. Because I don't know if your guys' look similar to ours, but it's a little overwhelming. There's a lot of buttons.
It is a lot of buttons. I have to say, I'm very grateful to have DJ Brother Rod here with me.
Don't you do
And
it.
it's an odd dynamic because Monday through Saturday he is my boss, and then on Sunday the roles reverse a little bit where.
Oh, this is the first time he admitted this. Now, any other time he was shy away from it.
I keep saying no.
He likes this how the power's growing on him now.
Oh, you guys, you're having too much fun.
So we're gonna wrap up our interview now, Victoria. I know we have. We keep it going. Okay, my production manager saying let's keep this going. This is a very good conversation.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
TRiO's company. I've got to ask what. I know you touched a little bit on it, but what inspired you to say we have to have a TRiO show on KSUA?
Oh, that's a good question. To be completely honest, I thought it would be a really neat way to reach out to the community. We try to attract students in the same ways that I'm sure your guys' programs do. You go to orientation, you show up to all these events, you hand out applications, you show up on panels for, preview for freshmen coming in. You do all these basic things, and you try to reach out to students. But at some point in time, you've reached all the students that you can, and either they've joined the program or they haven't because they don't think they need it or they don't think it's cool enough or, whatever reasons hold students back from joining programs like ours if they're eligible. And so I just thought a radio show could just be the most unique way to reach out to students in our community. Mm-hmm. And also to get TRiO out there as a buzzword. It's really important. In Alaska, we've only got 5 TRiO programs up here, and it's so important that we keep those 5 TRiO programs because we had 14 like a few years back, and the funding just keeps getting cut, and the different programs have been defunded, and so we're doing anything and everything possible to show up as unique and innovative and creative so that they keep us around. Yeah. And so, recently I just was at our NAOP regional conference for the Northwestern Association of Educational Opportunity Programs, and I actually presented on the radio show, and I was like, all right, guys, this is something that we're doing. Like, this is something that you could be possibly taking advantage of as well. This is free. This is, takes very little time, a little bit of effort. I would say quite a bit of effort, more than I expected for, the production of a radio show. But we're gaining students that we never would have reached otherwise. And it really lends a lot of credibility to our program because, student radio is big on campus now because we've won that award. There's a lot of prestige that goes with that. Mm-hmm. And so, we're just we're hitching our wagon to that gravy train right there.
Well, and DJ V, I really want to keep the conversation going, and you've already alluded to some of the reason why in terms of how many TRiO programs have been cut across the state, and the fact that you've had 14 just a couple of years ago and you're already down to 5. Can you speak to our audience about what type of changes that have occurred, how you all have been impacted by that drastic change?
I can to some extent. I will admit that I am definitely a new employee of the TRiO system in Alaska, and so there are probably veterans of TRiO programs in Alaska that could speak better to this, but I will say that there's been a lot more collaboration across the board. So, and that's not just with TRiO programs in Alaska, but that's with collaboration across the university campus. Okay. So if our rural student services is offering tutoring or workshops or food resources that students can take advantage of because they're also in rural student services and in student support services, then we're pushing them to that. If the Academic Advising Center is offering workshops every week on subjects that are really important to students, that we typically in the past have created workshops and done those ourselves, if that need can be filled somewhere else, then we're going to push them towards that, and we're going to readjust our time and effort and money towards something that students aren't getting. And so we're really reaching out across the board, and this radio show is another way that we're doing that. We're partnering with our student radio station on campus to get the resources out to students, to talk to them, to tell them what's going on, events that are coming up, and really just trying to make sure that they have every possible resource available to them, so there's no excuse for them not to succeed.
Well, let me give a follow-up question. Since you can't really speak to I guess the absence of the other programs, you and DJ JMR have the unique position of being participants of TRiO programs from an early stage, and you much earlier, starting at the 7th grade. Can you speak to the audience of maybe what your life would have looked like without having those services available?
It would have been bleak. I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't know that I would have made it out of my community area. I grew up in a town of 600 people, and I didn't even think I was going to go to college. Even when I was in ETS in high school, I was like, well, I don't really think I'm going to go to college. Or if I do, maybe on the off chance that I actually go to college, I'll go to Centralia College, and that's it's a two-year institution. And I was like, yeah, maybe I'll go there. But if I hadn't got into upward bound math science, my life would not be what it looks like now. I would not have been able to break out of the generational cycles of poverty that my family continues to live in. It's a little bit depressing to think about how different my life would have been. And I know that there are students out there that could definitely be benefiting from that upward bound math science program that no longer exists on the UAF campus, but it's not here, and the Upward Bound Classic program is trying to pick up where they left off in some ways. But there's only so much you can do, because the Classic program only works with students in Alaska, whereas the UBMS program reached out to Oregon and Idaho and Washington and even California at some points in time. Yeah. And so there are students that can't have that life-changing moment in their life like I was able to have. And so I think part of me continuing to work with these TRiO programs in Alaska and being president now of our Alaska Association is, trying to make sure that we don't lose any more funding, and if at all possible, can we get some more of that back? Because these are people's lives that we're dealing with here.
Well, and if my boss, DJ JMR, would allow just one more question. I'm sure that you've been receiving all the updates from COE, and you are pretty aware of the political climate right now, especially in terms of education and all the fundings, et cetera, et cetera. You've talked about it in previous statements that you've made, but do you want to kind of speak to the issue of the cuts that you all? Have you experienced any cuts this last year, or have your program experienced any cuts since these last 2 or 3 years, where cuts have just kind of been the trend?
Yes, we have experienced some of those cuts, but at the same time, because specifically in my program, I can't say that this is across the board. The UA institution is funding us at almost half of our cost, and so because we have that, the extra funding to serve 280 students instead of 160 students, we're not feeling those cuts like other programs. But that is a unique
yes, it is.
That is a unique position that we find ourselves in strictly at our Fairbanks campus for our SSS program. There is an SSS program that runs out of our Anchorage campus, and they're not seeing those same kinds of financial support. Mm-hmm. And it is heartbreaking to me that that some programs are getting funding and other programs are not. If you, and this is just my personal opinion, if you value education, you should value education at all levels, at all campuses, if at all possible. Yeah. And so it's really hard. All I had to do was put in a request for funding to be able to go to the conference in Portland this last week, whereas my colleagues down at the Anchorage campus in their ETS program really had to fight hard for their funding. Mm. And so I'm very much interested in seeing how we can make this a more fair and balanced allocation of funding across the board, because it shouldn't be that difficult to get funding for those professional development opportunities.
Absolutely. Which are very much needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I don't know if it's the same for you guys, whether you have to fight for your funding or whether it's pretty easily granted, but I worry about our support down at our Anchorage campus. I think it could be more extensive. We've got student support services, we've got an educational talent search program, and we've also got an EOC, an Educational Opportunity Center down there. So they've got 3 programs. We only have 2 up here. And our Upward Bound Classic program up here, the director, John Monahan, has been writing extensive grants. Outside of TRiO grants, he's been getting funding from, National Science Foundation, all sorts of crazy outside grant funding so that he can do fun and exciting things to keep his students engaged. So this past summer, they had unmanned aerial vehicles, actually. They got a grant for unmanned aerial vehicles so that they could look at the coastal erosion of Shishmaref, and that's up on the northwest coast of Alaska. And that community that lives on that barrier island, they're going to be forced to relocate if they can't figure out how to stop that coastal erosion.
Goodness. I don't know anything about
Yeah,
that.
and so those students were working with really high-level technology, and that's all thanks to their director writing those outside grants.
Excellent.
Okay.
And
Go ahead.
I just wanted to make a quick statement and just speak to some of the difficulties of writing a grant and actually getting that grant approved, and how much work has to go into writing grants. But that's my last statement,
yes,
DJ
absolutely.
I feel the move to transitions elsewhere. So it's been a pleasure, DJ V.
Yes, DJ V, thank you so much for being on Let's Talk TRiO. It was a blast. I loved having you on here. I'm glad we were able to share everything about TRiO programs and your radio show. It was just an amazing interview. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me on. It really means a lot to me, and I really think this is a great collaboration. Even outside of the regional associations, for us to get together like this is a unique opportunity, and thank you guys so much for it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you December 11th, or I can't remember when I go on. But I do have
I think it's in December, yeah.
Yeah, it's in December sometime. I'll be appearing with DJ V on KSUA 91.5. In December. So, DJ V, I look forward to the
interview. Hollywood, here we come.
All right, you guys have a great rest of your evening.
Oh, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so we're going to take a quick 3-minute break. If you have a TRiO story, we are past the hour. So if any students want to call in with their TRiO testimonial, you have about 3 minutes and 25 seconds to do so. Remember to give us a call at 575-562-4083. You are listening to Hound Waves, Portales.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you were just listening to P.O.D. Rock the Party.
I love that song. I heard it back in high school, and I was like, man, I love
What is a P.O.D.?
Payable on death. All right, so we do have a TRiO listener.
Well, we have many TRiO listeners. We have a caller today.
We have a caller today, yes. So I'm bringing in Miss Catalina Arana from the Upward Bound program here at
Eastern New Mexico University. Catalina, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, Catalina. How are you doing?
Good, and you?
Doing good, doing good.
Catalina, what are you doing calling us?
I want some good food, man.
What do you mean you want some good food? We didn't say we would provide any good food.
Yes, you guys did.
Oh, okay.
So, go ahead.
Are you going to share with us your testimonial about Upward Bound? And well, before we get there, just what's on your mind right now, Catalina?
I have a lot of homework.
You got a lot of homework.
Yeah.
Excellent. So you'll be coming to tutoring sometime this week, is that right?
Yes, tomorrow. I need to study for my biology test.
Okay, excellent. So share with us, how has Upward Bound impacted your life, young lady?
Well, it's a great program. It it helps you to get advanced in school. Like last year, I would show off because I already knew some of the stuff that kids didn't even know. I was like, I already know this.
Yeah.
What?
And then my teacher was really proud. She you guys should look at this girl. She already knows all this stuff.
Nice.
And I just have to say, Catalina, I mean, you've been such a great participant over these last couple of years. Now,
Thank you.
You are so welcome. What would you share to some of your other peers about TRiO programs and how they should participate and all those kind of good things?
I think it's just a great program, and you should join it just because it's a great program. You get college credits, you get money, and
could you say that one more time? You get what?
You get money, honey. And every semester you get money, and you can just you have money right there for your Christmas present. You don't even have to worry about asking your dad or anything.
Okay, and this last little tidbit, I want you to be able to speak to some of our representatives. Now, for those who don't know, a few years ago, that may have been, was it last summer, 2 summers ago, where we brought all of you in to listen to the president kind of address you all and talk about TRiO programs and all those kind of things. Can you speak to some of our listeners about the importance of TRiO programs and why they should continue to be funded?
They should just continue to be funded because, like, they help students with a school to maintain good grades. Because if you don't have good grades, if you don't have like above a C, you have to go to tutoring, and then you like have to pick that grade up. So that like helps you to get good grades, and it just helps like the students to be good students.
Yeah. Right on.
So what would happen if there was no more TRiO Upward Bound, Catalina?
I would cry.
All right, well, right on. Thank you very much, Catalina, for calling in. And yes, you will get your customized lunch on Tuesday.
Tell us what you want. You got to tell DJ JMR what you like for lunch
Yes,
this week.
please let me know by Monday or Tuesday before we get to the high school, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night, Catalina. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Well, Rod, our very first caller.
I am so stoked. I didn't even know how to act. I didn't even know what questions to say. I was like,
I didn't either.
We got a caller. What is this? I mean, we should start expecting them to call. I
Yeah,
mean,
we should.
You know, but
And
that was good.
that was really good. That was really good. So, Rod, do we want to do fun facts? What would you like to do? We have like 10 minutes remaining.
Okay, well
on the
then
radio show.
we'll go through a few fun facts and then we'll conclude the evening.
All right.
Well, I should add once more that student is one of our outstanding students in our program. We have many outstanding students, and that was one of them that called in tonight. So we hope that our listeners had an opportunity to not just hear all the professionals that talk about TRiO and how they've impacted them, but you had a chance to hear a student who's actually in the thick of being served by Upward Bound, a TRiO program.
Yeah.
Now, do I have my background music?
Yes, you have background music going on right now.
Excellent. Well, to kind of... would commemorate be an appropriate word? Is that an appropriate word to say? Commemorate Alaska for...
Sure.
Okay, we'll
for
go
the radio
commemorate.
show, we will
Yes.
commemorate Alaska being represented in this radio show.
Yes, thank you. So, DJ JMR, I would like to just kind of get the move, the Alaskan move going.
Sure, let's get it going.
So, we already understand that there's so many hours of daylight, so many hours of the nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
Can you take a guess of how many hours during the day there's light?
Light during the day?
Yeah.
4.5.
No.
No?
Well, I mean, I think that's, DJ V said it was 4.5, so we'll go with that. But that's not at least what my statistics say.
Oh, okay. What is your
24 hours.
There's 24 hours? Really?
Now, I don't know how long that is and how extended that is.
Wait, is that a period of a year?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. I didn't mean to put you on blast like that. I was trying to figure that one out.
I was hoping to just kind of move that one over. Breeze through that one really quick. Breeze through. Now, I think I've already given you this, but act like I didn't.
Okay.
So we heard that Texas was not the largest state in the United States.
Yeah.
But can you at least maybe indulge me and just get the first question or get the first answered wrong first and then answer correctly? Can you guess how large Alaska is
Oh gosh.
in comparison to Texas?
I know you could fit.
That great state, Texas.
I think you could fit almost 1.5 Texases in Alaska.
You're close.
Huh.
You're so wonderful for indulging. You know it's 2 states.
It's 2 states.
It's twice as large as Texas.
Twice as large as...
Twice.
So you can fit 2 Texases in there.
You can fit 2 Texases in Alaska.
Yeah. Okay.
So this last question about Alaska. So when was... I cannot phrase this. Okay. So recorded high temperature in Alaska happened in 1915. Can you
1915.
guess how
This should be my expertise right here.
It should be.
I'm gonna
did
stop
it
for a
get?
number, okay? 47 degrees. No?
Higher.
No. Oh wow. We'll go with 65, and that's my highest I'll go, because it didn't get any harder than that. I don't think.
Well, at least what my stat says, it got to 100 degrees.
No way!
In 1915.
No way.
Now, that could be wrong,
Wow.
but that's what it says.
All right.
And I have just a few more.
Yeah, get it
And I'll be
across.
done.
Yeah.
Because I think these are really, really funny. So, guess how many eyelids a duck has?
How many eyelids does a duck have? I'm gonna say 4.
You suck it. Excuse me.
Yeah.
3.
3.
You close.
You're good. You're good.
Whatever. Had to check myself. Had to check my list.
Oh man.
All right, last one. In a frog's mouth, excuse me, if a frog's mouth is held open for too long, what would happen?
The frog's mouth, I would assume, would probably just stay open and will dry like that. It'll just stay with the mouth open like that.
Well, have you ever heard the adage, open mouth catches flies?
Ah.
That's not the case.
Oh, it's not the case on this one. What
The
happens?
frog would actually suffocate.
Whoa! Oh my gosh.
So that's all my fun facts for today, sir.
All right, fantastic, everybody. That was Rod's Fun Facts. Thank you very much, DJ Brother Rod.
You're welcome.
All right. So now, ladies and gentlemen, we're kind of in the conclusion part of a show. Thank you all very much for tuning in. I'd like to just very quickly give a shout out to all of our Upward Bound students here at Eastern. You guys did a wonderful job representing us, your families, over at the Texas Tech trip.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to give them a quick shout out there, Rod. Any other quick updates before we go?
I don't have a COE update this week, but please stay tuned. You know what? Actually, I won't be here next Sunday.
Rod, let's talk about that real quick. You are not going to be here.
I'm going to be in Little Rock, Arkansas. And you know, I have to say, now for those who have not seen Lee Daniels, The Butler, it's an awesome movie, and it kind of choked me up. But I bring that up because for whatever reason, I forget the history behind Little Rock and all the historical events that have occurred in Little Rock. But anyway, I'll be in Little Rock for a SWASAP annual conference. And so we'll be there. I'll be going through a variety of professional trainings and all kind of good stuff, updates hopefully about APR and just the status of TRiO program. So
absolutely. So hopefully when you get back, you can share a big update here on the show.
I hope so.
And just give us a nice kind of well-rounded information session on what happened. Hopefully you can at least call in on Sunday.
You know, if indeed there's not a lot going on now, I have to tell you now, every now and then they have a few dances there, and you know, I like to dance, and I like to dance till I sweat and things like that.
And you have all the right to, Rob, because you've recently obtained your master's back in May, so that deserves to be celebrated. And so you just cut it loose, man.
I'm going, cut it loose.
All
right.
But
anyways, so audience members, I will miss you all, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
All right, right on. Well, everybody, that concludes our show. Thank you so much for listening. You are listening to Hound Waves Portalis. You've just tuned into Let's Talk TRiO. We've talked to Miss Victoria Smith today. Thank you so much, Victoria. DJ V for being on the show.
DJ V.
And just wanted to say thank you to everybody for tuning in. Our show, again, will air again next week, 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Be here. Tune in. I know you are all fans of The Walking Dead, so we'll keep you company through that show. So with that, Rod, am I playing? You playing?
I have a song.
Rod has a song that he would like to share. What song is that, Rod?
This song is called Turn Around by Donnie.
All right, right on. So here it is.